I can pinpoint the exact day that I decided to wrap up shop buying physical media. A certain movie was announced, and it was coming out within a certain time frame. It was going to be around the time of Avengers Endgame, of Star Wars Episode 9, of these franchises that I loved that were wrapping up. And when this movie was announced, I thought to myself, this is where I think it should stop. I think if I had this movie, along with a few in between, that I would feel like the collection had come to a natural close. The movie that I am speaking of is Bill and Ted Face the Music. And today we are going to be talking about Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. Here I have my Bill and Ted Excellent Collection, and you will notice it has Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, and a spot reserved for Bill and Ted Face the Music, as well as actually the animated series, because the animated series is fun. It's a little bit racist. They go back in time to China and Italy, and it ain't pretty. But it has Keanu and it has Alex Winter doing the voices of Bill and Ted. And it's sort of like looking back on Looney Tunes. There's just some stuff you gotta forgive. Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey came out in 1991. As of this recording, Bill and Ted Face the Music is scheduled to come out around August 28th. But due to world events, there is every possibility that it will be delayed and into next year. That will mark the 30th anniversary of Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. 30 years between installments. Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey is not as good as Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. In fact, it is... Whereas I'm betting when all is said and done and we see the totality of this trilogy, Bogus Journey will be the Temple of Doom in it. It will be the darker chapter. It'll be the part where things got a little bit mean. That doesn't mean bad. But for characters like Bill and Ted who are so open and good-hearted, seeing them put into a really dark territory, the contrast doesn't always work. The movie takes place a few years after Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Bill and Ted are now in loving relationships with the princesses that they rescued from the first movie, who have also joined their band, Wild Stallions. And they are trying to get onto the Battle of the Bands so that they can fulfill their destiny of writing music that will bring the entire universe into harmony. They're still not very good, though. Meantime, in the future, a villain shows up, an anti-Bill and Ted would-be dictator who wants to erase the past and make it in his own image. And he sends back in time robot versions of Bill and Ted to kill them and to take their place. The time travel... this might be the series where the time travel makes the least amount of sense. Because, for instance, the villain, Denomulus, he sends the robots back in time to kill Bill and Ted. You would think that would instantly tell him whether or not he succeeded. Like, okay, they're back in time. We're now 500 years after that. Whatever has happened back then has happened. It's not the case. He's communicating with them, and they're he's following along their progression. He's waiting for them to succeed, which again, since he's in the future, is hard to follow. But with time travel movies, you just got to let it go. Anyway, the robots do succeed. They kill Bill and Ted. And Bill and Ted faced the Grim Reaper, played by William Sadler, in a hilarious performance that I'm so glad to see that he is reprising for Face the Music. And they end up in hell. The original title of the movie was Bill and Ted Go to Hell. In fact, that's the title of the comic book adaptation of it. Seeing, again, good-natured characters like Bill and Ted in hell, the contrast is, they want to be goofy and they're trying, like they're being Bill and Ted, but they're in hell, and hell is not joking around with them. In the meantime, then you're stuck with watching the robot versions of them being complete assholes. And there's something about that that feels very off. Where, they're dressed like Bill and Ted, right down to like, Alex Winter doesn't take that backwards hat off the entire movie. And so they're dressed like Bill and Ted the whole time, and to me at least, they start to blur a little bit. Like, you see a scene with them being complete dicks, and then you see the real Bill and Ted, and you're still just a little bit mad at the real Bill and Ted, and disappointed in them, even though it wasn't them. There's just not enough contrast for me. Like, the robots were built by Denomalus, and yet he seems as frustrated with them as he would be if they were the real Bill and Ted. There's just a lot of inconsistencies in this movie that get frustrating, and it gets a little bit convoluted and bogged down in this complicated time travel plot, where time travel isn't even really... If the first movie was about time travel, this is about the afterlife. This is them navigating the afterlife, going from hell to heaven, and being ghosts and all that. So the time travel aspects feel almost out of place in this. I like this movie. I do. I know I'm not talking it up very much. But it is a big step down. I think I earlier reviewed Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. I gave it 5 stars. I'd give this 3. 3 is still a solid recommendation, but it's a big step down. Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter are still charming in the movie. They have the goofy lovableness that they had in the first one. But the first one is just so light and friendly and inviting, and it makes you feel good watching it. And this one takes a turn that, while it has its moments, it just doesn't convey that kind of glowing feel of everything in the universe is going to work out. Bill and Ted Face the Music. I've seen the trailer now. It took them forever to get that trailer out. I can't really make much of the trailer. It's a minute long. Doesn't tell you much. Keanu doesn't seem to, at least in the trailer, be able to bring back that goofiness that he had in the first two. He felt a little bit like, it was like Bill and John Wick, it felt like to me. But I still have high hopes for it. It's right now the only movie that I am anticipating, really, because it will be, of the 3 movies not on these shelves right now, it will be the last to be included. And I'm very much, I feel like the day that I pop Bill and Ted Face the Music into this case, right here in this empty spot, I feel like that will be the day I can look at these shelves and look at my 20 years of collecting DVDs and Blu-rays and feel like it has come to a satisfying conclusion on my terms. Their worlds. Sort of gave myself the challenge of, okay,